situation with the voices in your head. They said that love has shut the door on you, and you'd be better off instead. Girl, don't you listen. Your time is gonna come. You talk about lonely, you talk about scared. I think you're thinking that nobody cares. Well, you know it ain't over, but where to begin? You gotta play if you wanna win. Yeah. So when you gonna let somebody in? It's a classic situation where you don't know how to feel, so you go it alone. You turn off the phone when the struggle gets too real. Yeah. Girl, you better listen. It's time to make a change. You talk about lonely, you talk about scared. I think you're thinking that nobody cares. Well, you know it ain't over, but where to begin? You gotta play if you wanna win. So when you gonna let somebody in? Yeah, let 'em in. You talk about lonely, you talk about scared. I think you're thinking that nobody cares. Well, you know it ain't over, but where to begin? You gotta play if you wanna win. So when you gonna let somebody had another rough conversation with the voices in your head. They said that love has shut the door on you, and you'd be better off instead. Girl, don't you listen. Your time is gonna come. You talk about lonely, you talk about scared. I think you're thinking that nobody cares. Well, you know it ain't over, but where to begin? You gotta play if you wanna win. Yeah. So when you gonna let somebody in? It's a classic situation where you don't know how to feel, so you go it alone. You turn off the phone when the struggle gets too real. Yeah. Girl, you better listen. It's time to make a change. You talk about lonely, you talk about scared. I think you're thinking that nobody cares. Well, you know it ain't over, but where to begin? You gotta play if you wanna win.
All right, good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. Happy Sunday evening to you. I'm your host, B Level.
And I'm Tristan Transformations.
I think I'm next just because I wasn't
Oh,
feeling it
well,
too.
you're not
I'm
here, so I'm second.
Andrea. I'm Andrea.
Oh, my
Wait a
bad.
minute, let's do this again.
My bad. I forgot.
Happy Sunday evening, broadcasting for the B Level Entertainment Studio. I'm your host, B Level.
And I'm Andrea.
And
I'm
I'm
that
Tristan
boy after the P.
Transformations.
Yeah, there's a little delay in the apps. Okay, so in case you guys are wondering, the roads are still not clear, so all of our whole crew cannot get with us, but we got them through Zoom. So yes, and together we go by the name of the Unpacking the Baggage podcast, the baddest podcast on in the world, this side of Mississippi, it all. Okay, now listen, we need to pay a couple of bills. Sponsors. We're looking for sponsors. Okay, last year we had over 1.2 million views. That's a lot of views. Okay, and so if you are a business owner, if you are a product owner, and you want to advertise your product on this great podcast, all you have to do is send an email to unpacking the baggage podcast lr@gmail.com. Again, unpacking the baggage podcast lr@gmail.com, or send an inbox to Andrea, send it to Tristan, send it to Webb, send it to P, and somebody from our sales team will get back in contact with you. Okay, all right, Tristan, you before you do that, I do want to bring our guest on, and then I'll let you shout out the people. Let me bring our guest up front. All right, let me bring them up. All right, and I'm going to introduce them. Okay, the first person I'm going to is our guest. Her name is Dana Smallwood. She is a fiance. She's a mother. She's a business owner. Okay, she has a CNA school, and the name of the CNA school is called Immaculate Healthcare Professionals. She also have her own hair line that she's which Immaculate Hair Collection. She's a singer. She's an activity director. Y'all, big round of applause for Miss Dana Smallwood.
Hey,
Okay.
Now, I want to give a shout out to what's my friend name that told me that I need to get a Marcella Town Winston. All right. I want to give a big shout out to her because she had a great idea, right? We are having these people that are talking about trauma on the podcast, and we need an expert to help us work through this trauma. So we did just that. All right. I put on Facebook, and we had our dear friend Charlie Simpson. And let me give his bio. Let me read Charlie's bio before I introduce him. Okay. And let's tell who Charlie is. Okay. Charlie Simpson has pursued a career as a licensed marriage and family therapist, okay, and licensed professional counselor. And he has provided therapy to over 1,000 couples, individuals, and family. Charlie has worked in the mental health field for over 16 years and is the owner of the Arkansas Relationship Counseling Center, which counsels over 200 couples per year. Charlie has been viewed on TV, TV One, Fatal Attraction, and is a weekly relationship contributor for the KARK Channel 4 and has appeared on several podcasts and radio stations. Charlie serves as the marriage ministry leader and on the board of trustees for his church and embraces the concept of challenging the way we think to overcome the difficulties in life. Welcome to the podcast, Mr. Charlie Simpson.
Thank you for inviting me.
Charlie, I know that you have, I read your bio and you've had a lot of experience in just stuff that we're going to talk about today, which is, we're going to talk about just rape and, sexual behavior. So do you want to just kind of open up with some of your experience you've had with this that we're going to be dealing with today?
First and foremost, I commend you all for having this conversation, which is very, very highly needed within our community. It's a lot of topics that is swept under the rug, and this is a really good opportunity to start a conversation to help people, to help empower people to be able to come out and speak their truth. But I mean, I can't tell you the amount of clients that I've worked with. They'll come in for one particular, trigger or concern that's occurring with them in the moment. But then when they start to bag up and just go all the way to the beginning of things, it start to go to something, traumatic. And so I'm grateful for this conversation, to be able to hear this story and also to be able to help the viewers to kind of connect the story that she's sharing with just some things that people might be experiencing personally.
So, and thank you for lending your Sunday evening to us. As I said, Dana is going to share her experience that she dealt with sexual child molestation, rape, and then we have a lot of viewers that are out here, and obviously we have a professional that can help you through it. Before we start, I know that you own this business. What if someone would like to get in contact and talk with you offline? How would they do that?
Definitely. You can, I mean, you Google Charlie Simpson, and something should pop up. If not that, the Arkansas Relationship Counseling Center, we have a team of therapists from different backgrounds that could pretty much provide whatever services you're looking for, all the way to medication management as well. But just Google my name, the Arkansas Relationship Center, and you should be able to get in contact with us.
And I've tagged Arkansas Relationship Counselor Center to our Facebook page. So all you have to do is go to the link. If you don't remember that, go to the link of this episode that's in the what we put in the bio, and then it'll click you to them. Now, Tristan, you've got some people online. Go ahead and shout your people
I
online.
also tagged that Arkansas Relationship Counselor Center in the comments as well. Shout out to Kim. Shout out to Candy, Miss Candy Webb, Marcella Winston.
Hey, Marcella, that's my hero.
Marcella says, thanks for being open-minded about it. We no longer suffer in silence. I agree. Hey, Javiana. Hey, Carla. Thank you for sharing. Hey, Patricia. Hey, Marie. Thank you for sharing. And Andrea's on here. She's not here. She's on here. Let's see who else is on here. That's all I see right now.
Did you say Carla, Marie Williamson?
Yes.
You said all of those people?
Yes.
All right. Okay. All right. Let me go ahead and all right. So let me do one thing at followers in here.
Hey, Tina.
What do you want them to do as far as sharing, Tristan?
I want everybody to share this live broadcast and also hit share it in the comments so we can shout you out.
Now, so before we start talking about guests, I want to take a little minute and say for Dana, okay? Dana was introduced to me by Tamala McElroy, but also Dana inboxed myself and she inboxed Andrea. And I want to first, before we start our story, just first of all, give hats off to you, Dana, about being brave enough to share your experience. I will tell the listeners that what she's saying today is going to be very graphic. I would not encourage, if you're in a car with kids or you're somewhere the kids are in an earshot of it, I would just ask the kids to kind of get out of the room. We're going to have some grown conversations. We're going to talk about some grown things. It's going to be very graphic. So, I want this to understand that it is very sensitive information, and I would not want my child to hear that, even though some people may want their kid to understand it and listen to it. But I just want to warn them that some of the things that we're going to talk about is very graphic. Okay, so Dana, as I said to you, I want to thank you for being brave enough to come forth and share your story. And, I think we just need to start. First of all, is there anything that you want to say before we start our conversation, or are you just ready to jump into it?
First of all, I just want to tell y'all thank you. This is not the first time that I've shared my story. I've shared it before, but I'm probably going to be more graphic this time. But like I told you before, I just feel like I have a responsibility to let people know, what's going on, because often in our culture, it's swept up under the rug. We don't talk about it. Families are broken up, including my family. It's not proper healing, and I'm just trying to help some people not go through what I went through.
Well, big round of applause to you for that. Big round of applause to you for that. Okay. I think we need to start, Dana, just going all the way back before we start your story. I would like to tell people a little bit about you, where you're from, where you grew up. Are you from Little Rock? Are you from another city? Where are you from?
I'm originally from Prescott, Arkansas.
Okay.
I was in Prescott. I have lived, so I know this is moving forward, but I'm from Prescott. But when we got in foster care, I had to come to Little Rock. So I was with my adopted parents. I've also lived in Dallas and in Illinois before.
Okay. And then how many siblings do you have that was raised in a
It's six
house?
of us. It's six of us.
Okay.
Hmm.
Where are you? Where do you fall as far as being the oldest, the middle, the youngest? Where do you fall in those six?
I have a brother that's older than me, but it's me. But of course, I'm the boss, and
Okay.
everybody else is up. Everybody else is up under me.
Okay. So you're
Um,
next to the oldest.
next to the oldest.
Okay.
I'm the
And
oldest girl.
okay. Okay. And
I'm next
then we talked just about a couple of days ago, just about your experience. And I just want to I want to tell you that this is a safe space. I always want to start by saying you can share as much or as less details as you want to. Obviously, I felt like, your story was we've had sexual assault episodes before. But when I got on the phone with you, it was so, not just mouth dropping that I felt like you really needed to be honest. Thank you for being transparent. And I just want you to understand that this is a safe space. We have Charlie that if you struggle, he can help you with it. And then we're going to read some comments, but we're going to keep our comments until at the end. We're going to let you get to the story. So let's start back of a young girl growing up, being the next to the oldest. You were raised with your mom at first. You are your mom's single mother. Is it both your mom and dad was there? Or and hey, take your time too. Take your time. We're no rush.
Right.
So, growing up, it was my mother and my father until my father got incarcerated. My father got incarcerated for murder about, I was like 9 years old. He went to prison for murder. So it was just our mother then. Our
Okay.
mother and our grandparents shared the responsibility of taking care of us.
Okay. And so, how did you have a normal childhood? I mean, was it normal? When I say normal, I mean, obviously you got in trouble. I mean, everything was normal until the age we start talking at around 8 is when it started to be
Everything was normal for me until, well, so at 8 years old is when I experienced my first level of sexual abuse. It was through some family members that were girls.
okay. Okay.
So, um, that's when I experienced my first level of sexual abuse.
So let's
So
just
I
go
would
ahead.
say,
Go no, go ahead. I'm sorry, I interrupt you. Go ahead.
so everything was pretty much normal for us until daddy went to jail. Like when daddy went to prison, like mama just she got drunk out on drugs, and that's just our life turned upside down. But me and my sister had already started experiencing um, sexual sexual misconduct with some family members that were older than us. Like I said, they were girls, and they would perform oral sex on me and my sister, and in return, we would have to perform oral sex on them. And it
And what
happened a few times.
what age was this? Do you remember?
What age were they, or what age
Which
were
age were you? How old were you?
I? Was 8 years old.
And how
I was
old was
eight
they?
going into 9, and my sister is like 10 months older than me.
Okay. And then how old were the purpose? How old were they?
So they had to be at least about, I would say, about 5 or 6 years older than us. So let me see.
It's about 15.
Yeah, about 5 years older than us.
Okay. And
Mhm.
that was the first encounter. And how long did that happen? How long were you guys doing that?
So that happened a few times. And that's when I feel like I had my first orgasm, like around 8 years old.
Okay.
I didn't understand it. I knew what we were doing was wrong, but it made my body feel some type of way. I really can't explain it.
No, I get it.
And I knew I had something going on because my little privacy was wet after
Right.
they had got through doing that to
Right.
me.
Right. And so was it together? Was it at the same time? Was it in different rooms? Was it in the same room? Did it happen at, today for you, tomorrow for your sister, or was it the same time?
So we was all in the same room. We were
Okay.
all in the same room.
Okay. And did you have any conversations with this is your older sister about,
No,
that
she's under me.
she's younger than you? Okay. Did you
Mhm.
have any conversation about, that being wrong? Like, I mean, was there any communication with your sister after this was done, or what happened?
So me and my sister is crazy because we got through talking about that like about a couple of months ago. We spoke on that, and I know it might sound weird, but in the couple of times that we did that, me and my sister both experienced that we can still spell. It's like it was like a sex in the air. We both can still spell that to this day.
Mm.
I don't know how to explain it. It's weird, but it's like we can still spell the room, like the sexual stuff that was going on in the room. We can
Yeah,
still spell it.
and
That's
Andrea,
what she was
Anthony.
telling me. She was like, Dana, do you know that I can still spell what's her name's older? And I was like, wow, that's crazy because I can too. Like when I think about it, I'm like, yeah, I can still spell them. It's like it's just like it just happened. I don't know how to really explain it though.
And Andrea, Charlie, Anthony, feel free to jump in if I'm leaving something out. If you have a questions, you want some clarification or anything, just feel free to kind of jump in here.
I did want to share that it is important to know that 90% of sexual abuse cases are by someone that you know. And so I hear that the first experiences that people typically have is someone that is really close. And so, uh, that is important to understand as well.
And I forgot, pardon me, but I normally start and I got the horse before the carriage. I normally start with literature, and I have forgot to put our literature up, and I'm not going to stop you in a minute of the story, and I'll share the literature later. But I normally try to start every episode with some statistics and all of that. But I got ahead of the curve. I put the horse before the carriage, so I will share that with you. Okay, so let's go back with you and your sister having oral performed on you guys and you guys having to do it on them. That was the first couple of times that you experienced the molestation. Did you tell anybody other than you and your sister? Was it just a situation? And did that happen multiple times with these two females?
It happened it happened multiple times, if but on that situation right there, we never spoke on that. We spoke on that with each other. But I never shared that with anybody because see, I'm gonna be honest with them. I love them. They're my family and they got the other people have their own story to tell. So when you get older, I feel like when you get older and you start experiencing life, you see things a lot differently. And so, one of them like apologized to me the first time that I ever had a testimony, came out publicly at New Tyler without apologizing to me. They apologized to me, and it was kind of like, we was going through this, so I forgive them and I love them, and I'm not mad at them. But for as them me and my sister, we keep that amongst each other. And like I said, we'll still talk about it to this day. We talked about it a couple of months ago. And I know people might think it's weird, but my sister's like, I can still spell them. And I was like, you can? I was like, it just, I don't really know how to explain it. Maybe Charlotte can help me explain why is that something that we still remember from that experience. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
those are definitely common responses, to trauma. And what happens is they're just kind of implanted in the subconscious parts of our brains. And so, I often hear a lot of cases where it's just like they're even just with, in marriages where, somebody experienced childhood trauma, and then in the marriage their partner touches them in a certain way or they do something that just kind of triggers this. And what typically happens is, emotionally, uh, we start to protect ourselves, and physically it's just kind of like we just don't know exactly what to do with these types of things. And if it's left untreated, what typically happens is we just navigate through adulthood
mhm,
with just these triggers happening, and on the outside people don't really understand what's happening, and maybe even for the survivor they might not even understand what's happening with the body as well. But being able to go through that process of connecting to the subconscious parts of our brains, definitely helps us to be able to manage those feelings, those scents, those triggers as we move forward in life.
Oh,
Yeah.
and I want to say something too, be level. Dana, I still remember the scent of my accuser as well. So that is
Mhm.
most definitely not uncommon at
Okay.
all. It's
Okay.
most definitely not uncommon.
Okay.
Do you guys smell scents on other people that might counter, like you might think that scent is, maybe a cologne that somebody else is wearing? So it's not a cologne smell, right?
No, it's
Mhm.
their scent. It is that person's scent. And it's like when the trigger is when the incident happens, it even you don't forget the scent. There are certain things that you see during a trigger, certain things that you smell during something that happened to you, and those things you never forget them. You just never forget them. And it's
Mm.
Okay.
true. And it is so prominent. It's like and it even in a good way, I'm just gonna say this, it's like in a good way. Like when I used to go to my grandmother's house and she would make certain food, that scent is just a reminder, it reminds you, and you have that, and you can associate. So I went to certain people's house, I'd be like, this scent is just in their house, and you just remember that scent being attached to that house. But it's like especially when it's something that has happened to you, like when people are sexually assaulted, they'll remember something that was on the dresser that they looked at, or their accuser being over them, their scent, their hands, you just, once you see it and it happens without you just don't forget that stuff. You don't.
Mhm.
Mhm. Well,
So
Dana,
it's not weird.
let me ask you this, Dana. When this was happening, where was your father was incarcerated? Where was your mom?
I don't know.
Yeah. Were they babysitting you guys? I mean, they were just left in the
Hmm.
house?
She was
Okay.
out probably, doing her thing.
Okay.
Hmm.
And so that was your first experience. What was your next encounter?
So my next encounter was he was my grandmother's fiance. He was known to us as our grandfather. So that was my next encounter. He actually took my virginity at 9.
Okay, so the first person, the girls, there was no insertion. That was them performing oral, you performing oral
And
on
then we
them.
performing oral on them.
What I would say grandfather. I don't know if you see him as your grandmother's fiance. So he actually that was considered a rape. Um, and so I at the beginning of this, I was going to bring that up. Molestation is I'm understanding is different from rape. Is Charlie? Is that molestation is unwanted touching, fondling. Rape is the insertion of something. Are those the right terminologies and definitions of it, Charlie, or is it
That's a good question. I would have to look more into those differences, but I do see I do see them shaking their heads. So you all might
okay?
have a
Put
little
the
bit
put the
more.
reading, put the
Okay, let's just go.
put
Okay,
the
all right.
meaning.
Let's do it, Andrea. Okay, all right. So let's get the statistics first. Andrea, you're gonna read that. No, you're gonna read that, Andrea. Can you see that?
Yes. Yes, it says out of every 6 American women has been a victim of an attempted or completed rape in her lifetime. 14.8% completed, 2.8% attempted. About 3.5% of American men, or 1 in 33, have experienced an attempted or completed rape in their
And
lifetime.
so that's general, but as we turn to blacks, let's talk
Mm,
exclusively about our black and brown girls.
Okay, and then it says black girls will be sexually
Yes, 1 out of 4.
abused before the age of 18. Okay, because I can't see it. The live sign is up there. 1 out of 4 black girls will be sexually assaulted before the age of 18. According to the U.S. Department of Justice, 1 in 5 black women are survivors of rape.
Okay, so 1 out of 4, and then the definition, and I'll read this of rape in most legal context. Rape is defined as a sexual intercourse or other sexual penetration committed by a perpetrator against a victim without their consent. And then molestation is to make unwanted or improper sexual advances towards someone. Okay. So that's the definition. 1 out of 4 African American ladies have experienced rape. So this is basically sweeping our community. Like Charlie said. This is happening all across the country. So that's the statistics. But getting back to your conversation, you were talking about your experience with your grandmother's fiance.
His name was Buddy. So I would say this, Buddy, he worked his way up into touching me. So we know my mom is on drugs. My father is incarcerated. So we would go over to my daddy's mom's house on the weekend. So before he actually did any sexual act to me, he did other little things like he might bump me in the hallway, chest to chest. Or he might say, "You just so beautiful. I just don't know. You just a pretty little old girl. Ooh, girl, you built up to be your age." Um, but the first time that he actually came at me sexually, my grandmother had a 1 bedroom apartment. And I remember it was like the winter time because I'm cold natured, so it was the winter time because I was extremely cold. So I got up to use the bathroom, and as I was using the bathroom, trying to get ready to leave out the bathroom, he came in the bathroom and he shut the door and he said, "Dana,
Thank you for your strength with this. Thank you for your strength.
he said, Dana, me and you are gonna start is doing some things with each other, and you can't tell nobody because if you tell somebody, I'm gonna kill you." And I said, because I called him Paw Paw. I said, "Okay, Paw Paw." And our first sexual encounter was he taught me how to do oral sex on him. And so the first couple of times it was oral sex with him. Um, and then it went from oral sex. It went from oral sex until we did everything. We did oral sex, we did annual, we did vagina. We no, we just had a full out sexual relationship for 3 years.
In the 3 years, um, obviously, did you tell anybody?
I didn't tell anybody but my best friend, which was my brother Xavier, and he is the one that actually told my grandmother. But see, backing up, it was reasons why I did not tell. For one, he had already told me he was gonna kill me if I said something. He was like, "Bitch, you gonna die. If you ever come out about this, I'm gonna kill you, bitch." So that was already implanted in the back of my mind. And then I seen what he did to my grandmother. So he used to abuse my grandmother. He used to pull guns on my grandmother. He used to verbally abuse her. Um, and God rest her soul, and I love her, but I have to be completely honest. I feel as if maybe she knew that he was touching on me. Because when I would tell her that I didn't want to come over there on the weekends, she would, "Oh, Danny, you gotta come over there on the weekend. You gotta come. You gotta come." She would just, "I'm giving your other grandma, my other grandma, her name is Curtis Dean." And she's like, "I'm giving Curtis Dean a break, so you gotta come over there." So I noticed when I would go over there, he was more nicer to my grandmother. Like he was loved up with my grandmother, but in the middle of the night, he was fucking me like I was a grown woman. But he was nice to her. So I'm not mad at her, but that's why I feel like she honestly knew that he was touching me. Because why would she get so angry and so upset when I didn't want to come over there? I think she could tell, like, it wasn't a healthy relationship. Yes, we were getting fed, we got clothes, um, and all that. It was good on that aspect, but on another level, it wasn't. I had got so nervous to where I was peeing in the bed. Like I used to, because we slept in the same room. So I honestly, and I don't really like to share this, but I would pee in the bed and just lay in a pee, you know. And if you don't pee on yourself or you get a little drop of pee on you, you know you itch. And
Mhm.
so I would try to just hold the pee on myself to keep him off of me because I didn't want him touching me. But of course, you
Mhm.
know, it would make me itch, you know, to where I would have to eventually end up going to the bathroom. So I just felt like we all in the same room. This man's getting up every weekend in the middle of the night. We would be in the bathroom, I know, like about an hour. I just didn't understand how mama couldn't sense that something wasn't right. Like, how could she? I just know that my kids, like, when my kids were home, I could hear them get up and I'm up. You know, I'm seeing what's going on. So I feel like to a certain extent she sacrificed me to have a more peaceful relationship with him.
For those of you who are just coming on, we're talking to Dana Smallwood. She's talking about her experience growing up with sexual molestation and being raped from a young age. She's sharing some experience that she went through with her family members. And so, Dana, how old were you when the situation started with your grandfather? How old you said it lasted 3 years? How old? So you
I
were
was
8.
9. I was
Okay, so this.
9, so
Okay, so
9,
this.
10, 11, going into I say like 12.
Okay, okay,
And you know, I want to say this. I see people when they bash little girls and they be on TV and they be dancing. I don't condone it, but I see a lot of people and they be like, oh, they fast as hell. They this and that. They need to sit their butt down. And I look them little girls and I see myself in them because I say at 9 years old, I knew how to cook. I knew how to clean. I knew how to take care of my sisters and brothers. And then not by my own choice. I knew how to please a man or a woman, and I knew how to do it correctly, you know, because
yeah,
through what I was taught. So I
yeah.
could cook, I could clean, and then I knew what to do as a grown woman in the bedroom at 9, 10 years old.
Is
And
your
there's an
grandfather?
important,
Go ahead, Charlie. Go ahead.
I was going to say, there's an important component to that, and that is um, how there's a physical response to it and there's an emotional response to it. So, like physically, I can just do what I know, even though emotionally it could be I really don't really too much care about what's happening, and being able to maneuver through those back and forths, um, and that's why on the outside looking in, people can go into judgmental avenues and be able to say why, or how could you do, or why are they acting like this, or why are they behaving like this. But for that individual, we all are just doing what we know. And if this is what was introduced to us, this is what we know moving forward. And even looking at the comments, a lot of people are hearing your story, and they're also starting to see how at an early age there's this grooming that happens. A lot of people caught on that, where perpetrators would do a slight grooming to get you prepared for what's going on. But it's important to understand the generational curses that happen. And Dana, you said that. I think grandmother kind of knew something. And oftentimes when generationally, we're either going to go into fight or flight mode. We're going to fight and we're going to be a big advocate, and we're going to burn everything down when it comes to people dealing with rape or molestation, or we're just going to shut it down and we're just going to sit in silence. And, for those people that sit in that silence, oftentimes they just kind of cover their eyes and they kind of sense the same things that they experience is going on around them, and they just stay quiet, moving forward. Um, And I'm pretty sure we'll get to the healing part. So I'll wait to like, how do you heal and how do
Yeah.
you survive and get through that? But a lot of people are really putting a lot of good things in the comment, and Dana, you're really doing a great job of being able to share this story and just open up people's eyes that they can come out and speak their truth as well.
Yeah, we're going to read some of the comments. Dana, is your grandfather still living?
No, all the men, all the men that sexually abused me and touched me throughout the years, all those men are dead. They're dead and gone.
Okay.
All of them are dead and gone.
So this was your second uh, situation. Let's
Mhm.
in order. Let's go to the next time.
Um, the next time that I got sexually assaulted was when I was in Dallas, Texas. I was uh, I was going with this guy. He was older. His name was Corbin, and I really liked the Corbin. And I hadn't had sex with Corbin, but me and Corbin, we talked or whatever. And Corbin was letting me know if I wanted to still be with him, I would have to give it up. And I'm not gonna lie, I really wanted to have sex with Corbin because you looking at somebody who has people have done whatever they wanted to my body unwillingly. So I wanted to do something with somebody willingly. I want to experience that and see how that felt. And so well before all that, I had went to the store. I stole a matching panty and bra set. It was Tweety Bird. And I had told Corbin, I was like, when this day come around, it was like I think Monday. I said I'm gonna send my sisters and brothers out to school, and I said I'm gonna be up there. So we had already had this planned out, and
Okay.
I ain't gonna lie, y'all, I was ready because I really liked the Corbin. So I got ready, I showered, I put my outfit on. My sisters and brothers they went to school, and Corbin we stayed in Pleasant Grove, and we stayed in some apartments. And so Corbin was like the third floor and we was on the bottom floor. So I walked up the stairs, knocked on the door, and Corbin let me in. I went in there because I was expecting me and Corbin to have sex because I liked the Corbin. That was my boyfriend. I went in there and I sat on Corbin's bed and I got undressed and I noticed that Corbin never did get undressed. So when I seen he didn't get undressed, something just told me like you need to put your clothes back on and just go on back because I'm thinking well maybe he done changed his mind or maybe he not ready or something. So after as I was putting my clothes on, his cousin came out from the closet. His name was Q-Tip, and Q-Tip was like, bitch, I don't know where you finna go. He was like, you came up here to fuck, bitch, you finna fuck. And I knew Q-Tip because my sister liked the Q-Tip. So I was like, nah, Q-Tip, I'm just gonna go on and go home, da 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 da. So he took his gun out and he said, no, bitch, you gonna fuck. He was like, you came up here to fuck, you gonna get fucked, bitch. So me and Q-Tip, we had sex. And while we were doing it, in order for him to quit, he had a 9 millimeter and he was hitting me on the top of my head with it, like nodding me on my head. I had to act like I liked it. So if I didn't act like I liked it, he would go harder or rougher on me. So I had to act like I liked it in order for him to hurry up and quit. So when he got through, he was like, bitch, go to the bathroom, go wash off. So I went in the bathroom. I shut the bathroom door and I started crying. And I just was looking in the mirror like how I get myself in this. But in the process of me in the bathroom, I didn't know that his cousin Black, he was standing in the shower. So he came out of the shower and I had to do that all over again with him. So after me and him got through, He went to the bathroom. When he went to the bedroom, and I was standing there, I was like froze. He was like, bitch, clean up. And I was like, okay, but I'm crying and I'm shook up. I don't know what I'm trying to process what just happened. And he left the door cracked. And he was in there telling Corbin when Black went in there, Q-Tip was telling Corbin and telling Black, y'all know we got to kill her, right? And Corbin was saying he didn't want to have nothing to do with it. And I'm listening at the door, and Q-Tip is telling them, y'all know we gotta kill this bitch because we done fucked up. We done calmed out in her. She's gonna go to the police and we gonna fucking go to jail for rape. And he was like, we got to kill this bitch. And I don't know what I don't know, I was just froze, but something came to me. I know it was God. And it was like, if you want to live, you better get out the house, just run. So I didn't even wash off. I was butt naked. I slung the door open. And when I think Corbin might have knew something was going on. I don't know. But when I got to the door was not locked. The front door wasn't locked. So I'm running down the stairs to my house, and Q-Tip is telling them, they're hollering at me. They're like, y'all, he telling them, come on, we got to get this bitch, y'all. Y'all, we done let this bitch go. So I made it to my apartment. I shut the door and I locked it. And that whole week, me and my sisters and brothers, we pretended like we were going to school, but we didn't go to school because we were actually in the process of moving to Box Springs, Texas. So we pretended like we were going to school, but we didn't go. So that's how I protected myself from getting, hurt, because he would just it was like a swimming pool, and you could see the swimming pool from my bedroom, and they would just be standing at the swimming pool, and I was like, if I get out there and get the moving, he gonna kill me. So I just thank God that that weekend we moved away that weekend. And I was with my father. We moved to Box Springs, Texas.
Now, just to switch over, there were several instances that you were either raped or molested. Let's
Mhm,
switch and talk. You and I had some conversation of you trying to commit suicide,
mhm.
and you told me about an incident that your mom and you running out. Let's kind of switch. And at any point in time, Dana, if you need a break, it's okay. You won't. I mean, I'm not in any rush. Um, let's switch and let's talk about the incident that you told me about the six guys in the hall.
So the first time that I actually tried to kill myself, I was 9 years old, and it was me and my siblings. We were all in the room together, and my mother hadn't fed us. We hadn't ate, um, and we didn't have any. I know we either didn't have lights or water. It was two utilities out. I would know it was the lights because Mama had those. You know how you light those lights with the things, the little
Light bulb.
kerosene thing, the kerosene things in there. So she had those in there. So we didn't have light, but I was the oldest girl, so we came up with this plan. Me and my sisters and brothers, like what I was gonna do about my mother not feeding us because she hadn't fed us. And so I said, well, I'm gonna go get her. I'm gonna make her stop doing what she doing so she can feed us. So I went to the hall, and it wasn't six, it was eight, like eight grown men in the hall. And my mom was having sex with a man in the bedroom. And the man that I was talking to in particular, he's a family member. And I ain't gonna lie, y'all, I was being grown. I walked to the hall, and I just was just having a little nightgown on. I was just moving myself in front of them. And I bust the door open, and I seen my mama having sex with the man that was not my father. And I told my mother, I said, you need to hurry up and feed us. And I was, hollering because I was mad at her because she had not fed us. We wasn't being taken care of. And I said, you need to hurry up and feed us. And This guy came from the back of the line, shut the door, and he said, "You little bitch, you need to wait your motherfucking turn." He said, "When your mama get through with us, then she'll take care of y'all." And so I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna show them." So I said, "I'm gonna just go kill myself." So I'm gonna kill myself, and that's gonna make her straighten up. I'm gonna kill myself. I ran outside. We stayed in the country. I ran outside, and it was a car coming down the highway, and I just stood in the middle of the road, and the lady actually hit me. She hit me, and I rolled on top of the car, and I rolled off the car, and it was a white lady, and she jumped out the car. And she said, What's going on? What are you doing?" And I said, "I'm trying to kill myself so my mama can stop doing what she doing, so she can feed me and my sisters and my brothers, because we hungry." And my mama ran out the house butt naked, and she was just like, "What the fuck you doing?" And through that incident with that lady, it got us to my grandma's house where we got some food. So in my mind, from that right there, I used that as a tactic to make my mama stop doing what she was doing to take care of us. Me trying to kill myself, because at that point I really didn't understand that death was final. The death was like completely the end. All I knew from that point on, when I tried to kill myself, because I was literally trying to kill myself to make her come and do what she's supposed to do, which, to be honest with you, I don't want nobody else kids listening to this to try this, because it's not, don't do it, please. But it worked in that sense, because through that lady hitting me, we were able to go uptown and be with our grandparents and get some food and be able to take a hot bath and stuff. So
Mhm.
that was the first time I tried to kill myself.
Charlie, were you trying to say something before we go?
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, just that suicidal ideations up to 50% of sex of survivors tend to have suicidal ideations. And so, I mean, that falls right in with just, and I mean, this is so powerful for people to just understand the mental aspect that happens when people go through sexual abuse. So this story is really, and I'm looking at the comments, is really connecting to people and understanding that mental health is important, and people go through things, and it's just not because we're crazy or we just, people just act certain ways. People go through things in life, and we just do life the way that we know that, like I said earlier. So, you're gonna hear me say, I commend you for this story and helping our community, because it is really needed.
All right, we're going to, Andrea, I'm going to come to you next. Tristan, let's read some of the comments of what people are saying. Dana, you go ahead and take your break, and let's get some
Yes.
comments.
Marcella says, "Thank you for being open minded about it. We no longer suffer in silence." Um, Alexis Johnson says, "Such a beautiful, strong young lady." Candy Webb says, "You got this, Dana Smallwood. We're proud of you." Um, Kiki Hobbs says, "Hey, Dana Smallwood, love you. You got this, boo." Um, Portia Davis says, "It's always family." Alexis says, "It was PTSD." That's when she was initially talking about her story. Portia Davis says, to this day, my family still want us to be quiet. Now it happened to my niece. Thank you for speaking out about this. They want to know why kids were acting out as little girls or little boys. This is why, because their uncles, cousins, and fathers, sisters, brothers touching them." Marcella says, "Yes, grooming at this point." Let's see. Alexis Johnson says, "It was never your fault, baby. We cannot control others' actions. You were a baby when this happened." Patricia Moreland says, "Powerful statement. Lord have mercy." I believe that was for Mr. Simpson. Um, Let's see.
Dickerson says, "Hey, I'm late. Mr. Simpson was my counselor years ago. He's awesome."
Okay. Nicole
Thank you.
Campbell says, "Your spirit is speaking to you about her knowing is spot on. They always know. It's inevitable for them not to know." Uh, let's see. Candy Webb says she's so sweet and loving. When you're around her, I would never, ever, ever have known. She definitely carries herself victorious and not any remnants of a victim. I agree with that. I've been around Miss Smallwood a lot, and I get the same perception. Marcella says, "I have a question for Charlie. How do you overcome this trauma anyone being confronted or even punished for these crimes?"
There's a letter technique that I often use with survivors that are in those types of situations. You know, they don't want to confront it's a family member that might not be ready to apologize or face that truth. Um, and I do want to say this first and foremost. If a client comes in for like a marital issue or something like that, and all of a sudden a sexual abuse topic hits the table, we're looking at months before clients are even um, safe enough to be able to trust a counselor or trust me enough to be able to go into that
Mhm.
sexual abuse. So it takes a long time and before they eventually start sharing, you know, those types of traumas. But when they experience that and they don't want to disclose, uh, the letter technique that I often use is they slowly go into a place where they can start writing a letter and even writing a word on the piece of paper might even take weeks to be able to get to. But as they're going through processing this, they're able to kind of put more and more in that letter. So by the time they finish the letter, they're actually able to read the letter. Um, and we call it like a just thought technique where you turn to the perpetrator and you read the letter to somebody that's sitting in an empty chair, the perpetrator. You read it and it's up to the client whether they want to burn that letter, you know, or do something else with it. But those are really good techniques if you don't want to just approach that person. Um, it's a way to write the letter, still get everything out, be able to turn to the person that's, you know, in the empty chair, be able to read it to them, and then be able to kind of close the process with you know, that type of that intervention. Um, but you know, when they go through a really good therapeutic process, they not only see the perpetrator different, let me rephrase that. They not only see themselves differently, but they're able to see the perpetrators differently as well.
Mhm.
Um, and you can go to that place of just being able to walk in forgiveness, even though you might not have actually addressed it with them. You kind of walk in this forgiveness because of just the lens that you now see them, and you know, that's a process. And I would love, I'm hoping we'll be able to get to that place where Dana, you can share, or even Andrea,
Mhm.
you all can share kind of how does that process work and how, because that's going to be an important component to helping
Mhm.
people.
So, and I'm glad you said that because I mean, obviously, we can talk about these traumatic things that happened to you, and I think that you know the listeners can understand that you've been through a tumultuous, you know, upbringing, and so we are going to shift, you know, about healing and all of that. But I did have a question for you, Charlie. If we have a young kid that's you know that's listening and they come in and they talk to you and they are talking about an accuser that happens to be somebody older. Are you obligated to report that activity?
We got to report if they're under 18. We got to report.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we got to report. And the way that that's done is there's just a hotline that we have to call. We have to provide the report, and um, you know, there's some advantages to that. There's some disadvantages to that because oftentimes the parents will know that if my child comes in and discloses, there could be some consequences. And so, there might be parents that might be protecting perpetrators by making sure kids don't go. And what typically happens is that a kid accidentally enters therapy. They're either showing the signs of the bedwetting, which is a big sign that will get a kid um, into therapy. There's some behavioral, concerns that's going on, or even some depressive like symptoms that's not occurring for a child. And then they're forced to have to kind of go into a counseling because, a school is on their case or but then when that child goes in and if it's disclosed, there's techniques that different counselors use. One of the techniques that I use is I'll bring the parents in. Well, I'll have a conversation with the child and let them know, what's going to happen. I got to keep that trust with them and building that relationship with them. um, I'll walk the child through what I'm going to say to the parents. I have the conversation with the parents so that they know what's getting ready to happen. And then I go and make the call. If the parents tell me that I can't do it or no, I got to let them know I'm sorry, but I got to make the call. And, those are the disadvantages because, those things do kind of build the mistrust, with counselors and a lot of parents understand that component that we are mandated reporters. Um, but to protect the kids, I mean, we just have to make those decisions. If they're over 18, they're considered adults and it would just be up to them on whether they wanted to report or not. I think there is a clause though, and I would have to do a little bit more research. I haven't looked into this area, but if the perpetrator is around other kids, I think there's a clause in there that we could still we might have to still report that. So I'm checking in with my sexual abuse specialist that's on our team, and she's listening in and she's giving me input as well. So she'll
Okay.
definitely respond back on how that part works.
Okay. Dana, I also want to ask you, my I got two questions. The first question is you are being brave enough to say names, your relationships. Obviously, there has been some pushback with your family members that you're naming in this. And, you and I talked about families kind of getting mad. Why did you decide to share names?
Um, the reason why I share now I don't share everybody's name, but I share mostly everybody's name. And I do that because for one, they need to be they're accountable. And like I said, to be all the men that have done something sexually assaulted me, they're all deceased. They're all dead. The two got Black and Q-Tip, they got killed a year later.
Mm,
Um,
Mm,
I share names and people do get mad. I want to say this. My family, they don't like for me to speak on what I went through. It's so much more to it. Like when my mom getting on drugs and my father going to jail, it literally tore our family apart because my grandmother's kids, a lot of them, they didn't want her raising kids. My grandma Curtis, they didn't want her raising kids because she was older. So we went, it's so much. I could talk for months and I don't think I will be able to tell a lot. But I share what I share because I'm gonna be honest, nobody protected people that were supposed to protect us wasn't protecting us. I'm just gonna speak on me. Nobody. So now I'm grown. I've had family members call, "Don't do that because you gonna make. Don't put what's the name out there. You gonna make what's the name look bad. Don't do that. Don't do this." Or even with my mom, and I love her so much. Um, she does not want to look bad for being an absent parent, or she does not want people to know she was an absent parent. But the truth is the truth, and it's the truth. And people want me to protect them. and protect them from being looking bad. Who was protecting me when I was 9 years old?
Mhm.
And that's what I used to try to protect people. And I got in trouble with God through that because God was like, I took you through that and I brought you out of there. So you're gonna protect him or you're gonna do what I want you to do, is which is I want you to tell the world what happened to you because you need to save some people, because and again on our culture is we sweep that under the rug. So I get a lot of backlash from the family. A lot of people do not want, I got a lot of support, but a lot of people do not want me to talk about it because everybody says you don't want to tell it on what's nine. That'll make somebody look bad. Even if I share something like, oh, we had a uncle that used to whoop me, because he said I was grown because I wouldn't give him the food stamp card. Everybody wants me to protect everybody. Oh, Dana, don't say that. Leave that out because you're going to make what's the name look bad. And I'm like, hello, I was 9 years old getting fucked, sucking a grown man's privacy. I hate to put it, I have to put it like that. I don't like to talk like that. But when I talk to my family, I have to tell them that, like, who was protecting me? Who was protecting us when we wasn't getting fed? We wasn't getting baths. No, we was going to school with dirty clothes on. Like, where was our protection at? I know
I
we always
appreciate
had
you for your
God, so
I appreciate you for your voice to be able to say, hey, you know what? I didn't get anybody that protected me the way that I needed to be protected. And I have an opportunity to move forward and make sure that not only do I protect me and those around me, but I can be a voice for other people and let them know that they deserve to be protected. Because a lot of kids don't have those opportunities.
I have a lot of family members right now that are so the ones that are proud of me that are 50 and 60. I got a cousin right now, 60 some years old. He sprung out on crack cocaine right now, all because a family member touched him. And he can't never speak up on it. He told me, Dana, please keep going because when I see you, that kind of in some kind of way it brings healing to me. I can't never
Hmm.
speak on what happened to me, but just hearing you speak your truth and tell the truth, that
Hmm.
brings happiness to me. I have a cousin that me and her are the best of cousins. She'll call me and I told her I'm not gonna say that because I don't want to hurt nobody's feeling. She said, you better say what you need to say that to the truth. She said, because we've been talking about this for years. You going through this stuff. And she said, I need you to tell the truth because when I was a little girl, I had a cousin that raped me till I bled to death. And when you speak
Hmm.
your truth, that heals us. She was just like that heals us. So
Hmm.
I want to be honest. I don't say it to be. I'm not trying to tarnish nobody's reputation and make them look bad. You made yourself look bad when you did what you did to a little girl.
Hmm.
As I was a little girl, so I can't do no more to you than what you did to yourself. But me speaking my truth, like I said, I have to put names on it because nobody was there for protecting me. And my brother told me before I did this podcast, and me and my brother is extremely close. He said, Dana, tell everything. And I was like, boy, I
Hmm.
can't be on there that long to tell everything. But he was like, people need to know what we went through as kids. People need to know the horror we went through, and then they need to know where you at today in life. And I was like, yeah, you're
Hmm.
right.
Did you have you sought out counseling?
Yes, I want to speak on that. So the incident that I thought would ruin my life forever was the incident that actually was a blessing in disguise to me. My mom put us in foster care in Prescott, Arkansas. And she, was gonna give up her rights on me and my sister. And so we were in a foster home there. And so one day, the foster parent, he's dead. His name is Mr. Billy Gully. He came to me one day and he said, if you want to keep you and your siblings together, he said, you know what you need to do. Now he ain't putting no gun to my head, y'all. I ain't gonna lie. He didn't threaten to kill me or nothing like that, but just him saying that to me, like breaking me and my siblings up, that was very serious to me. So he was like, I'm gonna, give you a little time to think about it. So I thought about it in a couple of days. I went to him and I told him whatever he wanted me to do, I would do it. Just don't break me. Just don't break me and my siblings. That's all we had was each other. So we had a sexual relationship for a year. This was my foster parents. We had a sexual relationship for a year. Um, it was time for me to get my yearly checkup, and I knew something was wrong with me. I'm not gonna lie because I'm very clean. I take baths in vinegar, because that's what my dad does. Is take baths in vinegar and bleach and stuff. I know it sounds crazy, but I'm just extremely clean like that. And I would take a bath, and like an hour later, I wouldn't be as fresh as I was down there. So I knew something was going on with me, but I was too scared. I was too scared to say something to the wife, but I knew I had a yearly exam coming up. So when I went to my yearly exam, the lady that did the yearly exam on me, she knows our family personally. She says, Dana, she says, you have a disease, she said, but it's a good thing, it's curable. I had caught trichomonas from him. I don't know if y'all are familiar with that. And that's another thing that's embarrassing, but I had caught trick from him. And so she said, you gotta tell us where you got this from. And so I just told her the truth. I said, I got it from me and Mr. Billy Gutter. We've been having sex all year long. And she said, I gotta report it immediately to the DHS. So I already knew they was gonna put it up. So I'm hysteric. So it's a lady, her name is Barbara Keaton. She's over all of them. She thought we were all so bad, but when I told her, what had happened, that I was fooling with him. She said, "You telling a damn lie. I'm sick of y'all little black girls. Y'all don't do nothing but keep up a bunch of shit. Now these the only damn folks in Prescott that got a fucking foster home, and now I'm gonna probably have to move everybody around and ship everybody around because your little lying ass. Just tell the truth. You know you been out there screwing them damn boys." I said, "No." I said, I ain't fooling with nobody. I said, I've been fooling with him. And she was like, we finna ship her ass a little rotten now. And she got on the phone and she tried to put me in Pinnacle Point. I was there like 2 days, but I didn't fit the criteria for Pinnacle Point because all these kids were on medicine and they were acting all crazy and zoned out. And my caseworker, they were speaking to my caseworker. They was like, y'all got to get her out of here because she don't fit the criteria for this. So I ended up getting in a foster place called Youth Home. I don't know if y'all are familiar with Youth Home in Little Rock. It's Youth Home. I ended up getting in Youth Home, and that is where I began my healing net because for like 4 years I had intensive therapy. We had group therapy. I had my own special therapist, and
How
that's
old were you at
where
that time?
when I got into a youth home, I was like about 13, and I left there in '99. I was going on 2000. I would have still been. I was getting ready to go to college, but yeah, that's where I started my healing at was in youth home. And that was the best time of my life because I was actually able to be around other people that have experienced the things that I was experiencing, and people that understood and that wouldn't judge me. Because see, you gotta understand when you go through this stuff, people judge you. They look at you crazy. I don't know why they always look at the victims like we're something wrong with us, but the victims tend to get a lot of backlash. Either you're fast, you're grown. It's kind of like it's your fault. You wanted things to happen to you, but that's where I experienced my healing. And that is where I also experienced that I needed to speak on that because I can't say names, but in one of our group sessions, it was some girls and they had been sexually assaulted. And they shared with us that they were starting to sexually assault people. They were sexually assaulting. One of them was sexually assaulting their sister. And the girl said that the little girl was 3 years old. And the girl said she stuck a mop up in the little girl. And I was so furious. I tried to fight her. I said, "Why did you do that?" And she said, "Oh, Dana, you've been sexually assaulted. You know that when you get sexually assaulted, you want to make somebody feel the way you feel." And I said, "Not me." And it wouldn't be a little baby because that's a baby. And experiencing that and her saying that was when I really was like, this is why it's people like this in the world. Because when you get sexually assaulted, I always tell people like three things gonna happen to you. You either gonna be extra freaky, or you're gonna either turn out to be a predator, or you're gonna be somebody who is kind of like standoffish. But more so, what I've seen is people are either very promiscuous sexually, or they are a predator, meaning that they want to inflict the pain and hurt that they had someone did to them on somebody else. So that is why people need to really get therapy and people really need to get help because this is why we see this so much in our communities. Little girls getting raped, little girls getting killed, murdered because somebody, did something to them. And this is why we need to talk about this more often.
Andrea, did you have any questions that you need to ask, or I know you've been listening for some time. Anthony, do you have anything y'all want to ask or add?
Not at this time.
No, when she gets to the end, I think I have a few things.
Okay, Tristan, what about you?
No, not right now.
Okay,
I did want to elaborate on something if you don't mind. I'm not
go ahead,
sure.
Charlie.
Um, Dana, could you really speak on like how would a person know when they've really overcame and really went through that healing process? Could you really speak about like how that lens changed or how does the forgiveness work?
So I can speak for me. I feel like even though I'm crying, it is, of course, it's hurtful when you think about all the stuff, went through, overcame. But I'll say for me, I honestly feel like I'm still somewhat healing to a certain
Hmm.
extent. So, but I feel like for the most part, I feel like I'm healed because I feel like, to be honest, you cannot go through all that trauma, even if you do go through therapy and it's not something doesn't trigger you or go back. It's kind of like you almost have to keep yourself in a positive mindset. And so that's why when people speak on me, that's what they say, that I'm always happy because I'm always constantly praying. I'm always seeking God because I give God all the glory because I should have been dead. I
Hmm.
should have been dead so many times, but He spared me for a time
Hmm.
such as this.
Hmm.
So I would say for me, um, I'm still I'm still healing, and as I talk, the more I talk about it, it's more healing
Hmm.
for me because I get to. I'm starting to where I'm sharing more. Whereas I'm not gonna lie, like my cousin said, I used to just kind of pacify things to keep people from being mad until I had some people tell me what they told me. So I feel like I'm still healing,
Hmm.
but I feel like I'm at a very good place.
Now, I wanted to definitely elaborate on that because um we forgive, but we never forget. And
Hmm.
as we move forward in life, we are able to kind of have a lot of those positive days. But what's really powerful about this moment is when a person goes into the hurt and they share it, can they come out of that hurt and go right back to the positivity? And what you're showing is, hey, as much as I stay in my positive and I do what I need to do to own my business, do I think the hair, I forgot the other accolades you got behind your name, what you are able to do, which is really important for people to understand about counseling, is that when I go back to my hurt, I can go to that place, cry, do whatever I need to experience. I mean, just think about if you lost a one. You go through
Mhm.
that forgiveness, you get to that healing, but then there's an anniversary, there's a birthday, or there's something, and you might have some tears. But then you dry your tears up and you know, whatever positivity you get to and you come out of that place. And that's a perfect example of when a survivor go through sexual abuse and they've made it to their healing process, they can go to it and then they can come back out of it. A big sign that a person might be still having a difficulty getting through that healing process is they go to the hurt and it's very difficult for them to navigate in that hurt and they might get stuck in that hurt. You know, those are the signs that, you know, we might have to ask ourselves, are we really going through a process of healing? So once again, thank you for sharing that. Thank you for being able to show your strength, your resilience. And I mean, I'm hoping that this session can go out to millions of other people.
So I want to say this. It took me a while going through therapy, but I honestly didn't start feeling better until I was not mad at anybody anymore. And I had to pray to God and I had to ask God. I mean, I had to get on my knees. I had to cry. I was, because just
Mhm,
going through that stuff, I had to ask God to work on my heart because I was angry. I
mhm,
was, but my angry was like, I was angry, like I wanted to get back at them. Even people that I knew was dead, it was like, I want to get back at them. But as God started working on me, I came to the realization. I said, "Well, God gonna deal with them," and I forgive everybody. I just hope, honestly, that before these people, because I know how some of them died, I hope and pray to God that they ask God for forgiveness for what they did for themselves.
mhm,
And I look at it like they weren't. These people weren't in their right minds. They were sick.
mhm,
And so I just hope and pray to God that they ask God for their forgiveness because I forgive them. If
mhm,
me saying I forgive them will get them in heaven, I forgive you. I hope
mhm.
that they ask God to forgive them for what they did because I just believe that they were sick. I believe this some things probably happened to some other people. Men don't like to talk about it, but a lot of men get sexually abused and stuff too.
Right,
So,
right.
and I
Mhm,
spoke with a lot of them, in going through what I went through, and I met a lot of them, so I know it personally. But I just hope and pray to God, and I do think about that. So I wonder did they ask God to forgive them for what they
mhm,
did, and I just said, God, I hope they did come to you, and I thank God. And I thank God for the positive people in my life to help me get to that realization that I needed to forgive and I needed to let go. Because if I had not forgave them, I probably done tried to kill myself again.
yeah, yeah.
I wouldn't be where I'm at because my nickname Pretty Girl, aka Nicki Minaj. So I wouldn't be I wouldn't be Pretty Girl. So and that was part of my healing process. I had to stand in the, when I started going through my therapy, I was stand in the mirror for hours and tell myself how pretty I was and how beautiful I was. And I started, I hated myself for a while.
Mhm,
But I
So real,
will say,
so
in
real
going
quick,
through
Dana.
all this, I want to say this God is good.
Yeah. And real quick, Dana, I got two more questions. In 60 seconds, I would like for you to tell me how you mentioned that you has a fiance. So what triggers do you have as it relates to having a sexual relationship with your fiance?
Oh, I haven't, I want to say this. He is awesome. And I want to say I thank God for him. Um, but it's just certain things like you have to when I started having intercourse with somebody, and I know it's serious. I share with them what I went through. So it's certain can't explain it, but it's certain things that he can't do to me that like he can't do that all the time. And like he know if I move a certain way or something like that, hey, let me not do this. Let me just grab her and hold her. And then it might be a time I'm with it. But he's awesome
Yeah.
and I really love him. I thank
Shout,
God.
shout out to Johnny Taylor. That his name? That his name,
Yeah,
Johnny? Johnny
Johnny,
Taylor?
come say hey.
He said he no. What he say no?
He said, hey, come say hey, big fuck. He ain't got no. Come say hi. He talking about hey, boo. But I thank
And
God for
so,
him because he's learning. Okay, she flinch or she if
well,
she flinch or if she move like that, that we ain't
big
gonna do
up,
that.
big ups to him learning your love language, learning how to love you
Mm,
effectively through
man.
your
Absolutely.
trauma.
Yeah.
That's a job in itself, learning how to be sensitive to your trauma. So big ups to him. Big round of applause for him. Okay.
Come
Yeah.
say hi.
So I got the last question, and this question is for you and Charlie. Okay. What do you guys say to someone who might be listening, who are being molested, who are being touched secretly,
Hey, how y'all
who
doing?
hey, who
Hey,
don't know what to do, who don't know who to tell? Dana, you first. What do you suggest that this young woman do with somebody who is struggling with this? They don't know who to tell, kind of like you were at 8 or 9. What would the older you tell your 8-year-old self to do?
Mm. I'm gonna be. I would tell me to get to an adult that I really trust, somebody that's really gonna protect me because you know a lot of people don't tell because a lot of people by telling they don't make it out. But I would tell the younger Dana Latrice Smallwood to you need to tell somebody because when they started with Buddy at 9 years old, it probably would have kept going on had I not told my brother Xavier. I told my brother Xavier at 11. I begged him not to say no. We were standing outside the apartment. I was like, I ain't gonna. I said, please, Sean, please don't say nothing. He was like, man, we finna kill that nigga. And I was like, oh no, because I didn't want my brother get in trouble. And my brother said something to my grandma. And by him saying something to my grandma, I don't think she really believed it. We went to my grandma, my big mama, my grandma mama, and she said, you got to get that nigga out your house and you got to get him out your house and now. And she said, Dana, did he touch you? I said, yes, ma'am. I said, we've been having sex. She said, Idea, you got to get him out your house. And my grandma said to me, she said, Dana, did he hurt you? And I said, yeah. And I still to this day don't really know what she meant by that. But she was like, Dana, did he hurt you? And I said, yes. And I guess she thought that I wasn't hurt because I wasn't, I guess, acting out of, I don't know why I don't really know what her justification was for asking me that. But to answer your question, I would tell the younger me to say, to say something as soon as it happens, speak on it.
Charlie, that same question to you. What suggestion do you have? Somebody might be listening, might not be younger, they might be older, struggling with this. Most of these stories don't make it. A lot of there's black families say what happens in the house stays in the house.
Mhm.
What Charlie, what do you advice do you have for that person?
Now, whether you're young or old, it's okay to be where you are. And you know what I mean by that is when you're young and you don't understand what's going on, a lot of the times kids are going to experience confusion, anger, whatever it might be. When you're an adult and you're going through those types of things, you're going to experience, emotions as well. And if that's where you are, that's where you are. Oftentimes we try to force ourselves to not feel or not to be who we are in order to just kind of push what we're feeling to the side. And when we do that, it's kind of when our bodies become stuck in that place. And so if we can embrace who we are, wherever we are, just like Dana was saying, it took me a while. I had to look in the mirror. I had to give those affirmations to myself. When I can do that and I can allow my body to relax the best way that it can in the moment, then your mind will start becoming a lot more creative and you'll find yourselves coming up with solutions on how you can protect yourself, how you can heal. And so it's really important to just people to just know, hey, I'm where I am. I have to um, embrace who I am right now, and then figure out how do I move forward, with whatever that might be.
Okay.
I want to
Andrea,
say this.
go ahead. Go ahead, Dana. Go ahead.
I want to say, for the Black community to really be honest, when you tell, a lot of people don't tell because when you do tell, you really don't have a safe spot. Typically, we a single parent home, and your mama or your father, somebody's experiencing something that's going on with them, or that's went on with them, or they're going through what they're going through. So that's why a lot of people don't speak out. So I feel like, and maybe y'all can help with this. We need to have more protective avenues for people. So if this happens, to where you got help, because it's one thing to go through pain and go through hurt, and then you tell people, and then they don't listen, and you still be with the accuser. Because I know like two families right now that are going through that. Person spoke out, told someone what was going on. Person been touching them for years. This person is in a relationship with this person, and the person that's done been accused or done been abused has to see this every day. So it's kind of like they feelings is kind of like, okay, whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
just it's crazy.
Andrea, you was going to say something. You wanted to wait to your comments to the end.
No, I think she answered it. I just kind of had wanted to know, where she was today. And she said that she's in a healthy relationship. But I do want to most definitely tell her thank you, thank you, thank you,
Thank you.
so much. And because a lot of things happen to people, and for something to have happened to her over and over and over again, it just exudes how much strength she has, and how much healing she's had, and how much healing she still has to go. But it's very encouraging, and I just hope she continues to do what God has purposed her to do, and what He gave her. I hope she continues to walk in that.
Okay. Tristan, you have anything before we let our guests go?
Yes, I've been knowing Dana for quite some time. And
Mhm.
I've been around her presence, and her presence it was always something. She always had an uplifting spirit, and I would have never known that you went through this. If you know Dana, she has a high spirit. She has a lot of confidence. Her confidence is through the roof. So just for you to have walk around with all this confidence, I commend you, because I've been through the same thing. I couldn't have, like, sometimes I wear it on my face. It's, nothing could be wrong. I just wear it on my face. You never wear your heart on your face, and I just commend you for that. And just you being here on the broadcast today just taught me something, just about way you smile. You smile daily. There's never a time where I see your frown. You're always smiling, giggles. Like, I want to be that person. So you really helped me today, and that's why I've been quiet. Like, you really helped me today, and I thank you for coming on and just explaining in detail your trauma and just letting us get another side of Dana Smallwood.
Thank you.
I want to
Thank
say
you.
before we let you guys go, I just I just mimic what Charlie is saying. Thank you, and Andrea is saying thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. You have did wonders for people that are listening. The other two young ladies, one young lady, Candy Webb, she's on here. She was molested. We have another person, Yo Yo McDaniels, and there are probably so many other women. This podcast is 85% viewed by females. And
Mhm.
so I am pretty sure that there are some people that have been touched, molested, and raped that have not said anything. And so maybe your story will encourage them to, to do whatever they need to do to release that their trauma that they're dealing with. So thank you again. Thank you again. Thank you again for purposely telling your story and hope that somebody else may have the courage to come forward and be brave like you are.
Be
Charlie, thank
level.
you. Yes, go
Be
ahead.
level. And one last thing, guys, before everybody goes, parents, let's normalize. Let's normalize speaking to our kids early. Let's
Churches.
normalize. Let's normalize that. Those that can, like, let's start having these hard conversations. Let's start looking at the cousins and the brothers and the uncles and the aunts. I know that sometimes you don't want to do that, but let's normalize having open dialogue with our kids. Let's normalize issues and things that could be with our children. I just want parents to really understand that these things are prep. They are out here and they're strong and they are affecting our community. And like I always tell people, oops, uh-oh, and I didn't think ain't worth the damn when it's going on, when it happens, because our children are stained at that moment. So let's start speaking to them early about their bodies and what could be happening and what may happen, and just being open with our kids and speaking out if it does go on.
And to Charlie, thank you, Charlie. We're going to use you. We need you. Tristan is doing a part, an episode, a spinoff where he is going to talk with people that have some conflict. So we are going to use either you or somebody in your office to help us with that. The fourth Wednesday of every month. So I'll be in contact with you. But thank you for
Thank you.
helping us. Thank you for giving us your professional advice. Thank you for lending your
Mhm.
ear to help. And one more before we leave, tell people how they can get in contact with your office if they need some therapy, some counseling.
Yeah, just Google the Arkansas Relationship Counseling Center. Google my name, should pop up. Some different places. My sexual abuse expert, she wasn't able to make it today, but she would be a really great avenue for people that are going through sexual abuse. Kids, adults. So we have a really diverse team that can pretty much work with whatever challenges you might be experiencing.
Okay, and for those of you guys, we have pinned the National Sexual Assault Line, the 1-800 number that we have pinned it in the comments. If you're not comfortable with saying something to somebody, as Charlie and Dana has suggested, there's a 1-800 number that you can call. 1-800. You pinned it in
Yes,
there.
it's 1-800-656-4673.
Okay. Thank you guys for joining us, Dana. We love you. We love you. We
We
love you.
love you,
Thank you.
Dana.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
I love
Charlie.
y'all
Charlie.
Thank you,
too.
Thank
Charlie.
you, Dana.
Do we have
Great
time to
job.
pray before we get off?
Yeah, you're
It's
gonna lead.
always time to
You're gonna
pray.
Amen.
lead. You're
Have
gonna lead
time
the
to
prayer.
pray.
You're gonna lead the prayer.
hmm
Come on,
First of
Dana.
all,
Let's go.
I want to tell everybody that said they had went through this. My heart goes out to you. I'm praying for you. If you need somebody to talk to, you can always hit me up on my inbox. We can pray. We can find help together. But I just wanna thank y'all for what y'all are doing.
Hmm.
I know God is gonna bless y'all. So I just want to pray real quick.
Go ahead.
So, Father God, we come to you today, God, just thanking you for another unpromised day. Father God, I ask that you watch over every person that has been molested or that is going through this. Father God, I just ask that you watch over families. I ask that you bless girls to speak and tell what's going on with them, Father God. I ask that you bring the knowledge to them and bring the help to them that they need, Father God. Father God, I ask that you bless this podcast. I ask that you bless every one of these people so much, God, because they're doing something for the community. They're trying to bring people together. They're doing something positive. So, Father God, I ask that you bless B Level, Andrea, Tristan. And Father God, I ask that you just continue to watch over me. And Father God, I ask that you bring us together as a community as a whole. I ask that you bless the Mr. Charlie. I ask that you watch over him, Father God. And Father God, as always, we thank you for sending your precious son down, dying for us, so that we may have a second chance. We love you, and you get all the glory and all the honor and all the praise. And it's in your precious holy name that we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Man,
Amen.
amen.
All
Amen.
right. Let us know how we can be of help with you, Dana. We love you again. You did wonderful, baby. You
Yes.
did
Great job.
wonderful.
I love y'all, and I want to help y'all. So if y'all ever need me, just
Well, as you can
I'm
see, I
there
still
for
need a
you.
little help.
Okay. Well, Tristan, you
Whatever
reach
you
out
know.
to me for real. For real.
All right.
And
All right.
Tristan,
Well,
you've been doing good. So
Yes, I have been doing good. I from
you
15 to
good.
yes, I'm way low.
God got you.
Yes, always.
all right. Well,
Thank y'all
Charlie,
so much.
good. Thank you. Andrea, Anthony, y'all hold on. Charlie, Dana, y'all, good night. Y'all have a good night.
Good night.
Bye,
Take care.
Charlie. Thank you.
Thank you, Charlie.
Thank
But
you for
Charlie, you
your
can stay
story.
on
No,
for the
Bye,
meeting.
Andrea.
no. No.
Y'all can
Thank
Bye,
leave.
y'all.
Dana.
Bye.
Bye
Bye
bye.
bye. Bye bye. Oh, okay. Let me get Webb back in here. Webb, there you go. What's happening, Webb? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up?
What's
She
up?
called me
What's
hollering in the
up?
Yeah,
phone, girl.
you missed a powerful.
Well,
Shut the
Were you
fuck
able
up.
to watch any of the episode, Webb?
I've been going back and forth with it, B.
Oh, Lord
do
Jesus.
tell, do tell, do tell.
So,
I'm not. I'm
so
not gonna get no
no,
how no more
so
clout.
listen, Webb. Our news, we didn't plan to talk about what you've talked about this week. You know, you and I planned on just having some conversation. And I told you that, because we always have a platform that we are very transparent about things. What are you laughing at?
Wait, level. What the fuck is
I don't
funny?
understand. What are y'all laughing?
Just
What were
What
y'all
the
Anthony.
fuck is
laughing?
so
Just
fucking
because
funny?
it's
What's
Web. It's
funny so
her.
I can laugh
She
You,
too?
funny.
What the
you
fuck is
funny.
funny?
You funny.
So we often talk off record, and I thought that you and I, instead of doing our regular dialogue, a lot has been going on with you this week. Um, and there were some things that went on that you posted about Nick. And I'm always trying to be honest about things that happen, and you and I've had some conversation about this, but I thought it was really helpful for us to have this conversation on air. And the fact that we talked about, there was a lot of back and forth this week with Nick Thomas. And obviously you shared something and you posted some stuff. Um, and I think he responded to it, and he said something about, and I'm paraphrasing, I'm not gonna give anybody attention that don't have their kids. I think that was what he said. And that made you go
Mm-hmm.
into a couple of days more of posting about that. And you and I talk, and oftentimes I will tell you, well, I don't know if I would have did that. And obviously we have that conversation, and I think it's healthy, because I think people automatically assume that everything you do, UTB get tagged with, hey, we are with it. Obviously, I've told people several times that you own your own platform, and you are the CEO of it in the news. And what you post has nothing to do with us. It's your page. You post it. You come on and you do a feature, and we basically highlight what you post. But oftentimes we talk off camera about when I don't feel like that you handle some things right, or that you would do some things different. We talk about that. So I just thought it was really healthy that we talked through our conversation. And one of the things you shared with me is that you expect people, once you post them, to do their 24 hours, because your feed, you put it in your story, and your post lasts 24 hours. So, but your expectation is, once you post something, for people to just do their 24 hours, not have any rebuttal, and that's that. Is that your expectation of it?
My expectation is I don't have any expectations. Like I understand when you get put into the news, I understand that this shit can be like it discombobulates you. I know exactly how you feel. My whole thing of it is that if you choose violence, if you choose that option to reach out to me after I didn't post, and my whole thing of it is I've been doing this shit going on a year. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just trying to figure out like what people not understanding. Like I get that maybe mainstream wasn't privy to it, but like I told you, B level, I've been sitting on whatever I've been sitting on with that situation for weeks,
Mhm.
right? I told you when I first got it, I wasn't gonna say nothing because it only came from one person. But when I'm still getting phone calls, I'm getting DMs from other people hit me up. The streets was talking about it. It's just that Nick is just popular as fuck in the city. Let's just be honest. And so people are a little bit timid. So they might not be saying that shit out loud, but it's definitely conversations being had. And so it kept coming to me. So I felt like, well, shit, we're gonna talk about it. And he could have, and I'm just, and like I told you on the phone, if he hadn't said nothing about my kids, I would have just. He even made a status like, "Hey, Chris Webb, this ain't happened. This is how it went. Whoop de whoop de whoop." I posted what he had to say. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm always going to post all sides of the story if I'm able to. And so it got weird when he brought my kids in it. I guess somebody got in his ear or something, and he brought my kids into it. And like I told you, he could have said something. He could have, they say I'm on powder. They say they say I got dentures. You know what I'm saying? They say I live in a 1 bedroom, 1 bath apartment. You know what I'm saying? It's so many other things that you can say. They say I don't got no car. They say I ain't got no job. Say that shit. Like say that shit. I don't bring in your children. Leave mine out of it. But like you said to me, in war, I can't tell somebody how to respond if they feel triggered like I feel triggered. So in the spirit of triggering, it's just gonna be up. You feel me?
Yeah,
It's up.
and
Fuck
where
it.
my whole pushback to you is oftentimes I tell you this all the time, and I'll say this again: I can't control what you put on your page, right? I cannot control it's your page. You put what you wanted to, but in my counseling with you and in my guidance with you, I think that sometimes it gets personal, right? It's you. If you were just to post the news, whatever you wanted to post, you post it. But then it turns into 1 or 2 days of you specifically going back against another person. That's where it kind of gets sticky, right? That's where you're picking a side.
You right.
That
You're
that's
right.
where you
You're right.
come across as meddling. That's where you come across as
You
if you would
right.
just, if you would just post it, but your expectation is there are rules, there are boundaries to their response. Like when you post something about somebody, there are, I mean, if you going back and forth, there aren't any rules. But as I'm hearing you saying, there are rules. They're not supposed to say anything about your kids, or else now you're really gonna get it. Like it's almost like it's damned if they do, damned if they don't. You post me. Let's say I had no affiliation with you. You post something about me and I respond. Obviously, when you saying something that you put my business out there, I didn't authorize it, and it goes against your rules of what you initially said that I only repost, right? This wasn't a repost. You broke this story. It would be different if somebody posted that and then you shared it. But this story, you broke it. So you didn't reshare it. So basically, you instigated it, you started it, he responded, and so now he responded. Now they got 2 days of you doing what you're doing. So now it looks personal. What do you say?
And that's why I got up this morning, tried to extend the olive branch and be like, "Happy birthday, motherfucker," because I'm not tripping on this shit. This shit, like I was on that shit. I crashed out. I'm done with that shit.
But way up, it was 2 days of it. So you put him up
Yeah,
through
it
2 days
was
of it,
because
and then you wake up with this. I'm saved. I done found
Sanctified.
Jesus.
I didn't say I
Well,
was
I'm just
saved.
saying.
I didn't say I was
You put
saved.
it out there. He respond. You put it out there. He goes where he feel is going to hurt you, which is talking about your baby, which is it was outside news that somebody else kind of leaked. So that's everybody's go-to when it comes to you. And what I'm hearing you saying is if somebody you expect the people to let you post them and they not say anything, right? You expect for somebody to be posted and you don't say nothing. What you said to me is do your 24. So you expect to post somebody. It's like time. They got to do their 24 and not say anything. Or if they say something, then it becomes personal. You get to talk about You can't read, and and so at that point,
So moving forward, whenever I make a story and somebody pop off, I'm just gonna let them pop off because I do understand
yeah,
that this shit is fucking triggering. So I'm gonna let you have your way now, but I want you to know that I'm letting you have your fucking way. Like I promise you, I'm not gonna say shit to nobody else. I'm gonna let y'all have it because I
yeah,
get it. Like one thing about me is that I'm not a person who is just one sided, single track mind, and I'm not trying to look at all aspects of any situation. So when we had our
mhm,
conversation, you broke that shit down to me, and I did. I called you like
mhm.
frustrated because I'm like, man, y'all. I'm talking about the whole team fucking attacked me today. Like they got on my ass and was like, nah, well, fuck that shit. Like you can't be doing this and then expecting nobody just not to say
Where
shit. You know what I'm saying? But again, you was on the phone with me when me and Nicholas talked months ago, and he told me I was cool. He
but
said
wait
I
up.
was cool. If the shit is after, I can talk about the shit. The shit was
Well, that's
out
he did
there.
not agree to that part though, right? And
Okay.
I'm not no,
Well,
I'm
it's
not gonna go
fine.
back because this is not I ain't trying to just you've already said the most important part that I need to hear. People don't see the us canceling. People don't see us, the phone calls that I'm doing behind the scene. People don't see me and Tristan and Tam on the phone with you saying, what the fuck are you like? What would you? So I
Yeah.
just want people to know because you're our family, right? And I think oftentimes we get groomed into the bullshit that you do, but we have no say in what you post, right? I can't tell you, but as your little sister and somebody that I counsel with you to be right, I just want you to not pick a side. If you have news that you're going to do the news, obviously people are not going to be excited about you breaking stuff that about them. So you have to be sensitive to that too. And you can't have boundaries to say I can post this shit about you, but you can't say nothing about my kids because then it becomes sticky. So I mean, obviously that's what I wanted to hear. I wanted you to acknowledge, hey, that you probably should have did something wrong. It's over with. But moving forward, I think that if you're going to be which you are, you have all the motion in the market. People come to you for the bullshit. They come to your page for it. I just feel like if you release it and you break it and let people respond, and I always tell you this, stay out the comments because everybody can't read the comments, right? When you get the comments, that's when it gets sticky. You understand what I'm saying? And then all bet goes out. Fuck it, everybody can catch strays at this point. So, my thing is trying to guide you to a point where you can just stay neutral and it not being purpose. And I appreciate you on the platform to say this is how it is this day going forward. I appreciate it. Tristan wanted me to do the hand claps. So I would do the hand claps. And even today, there's some other going back and forth which we're not going to talk about. I'll let you deal with that off cameras. But at the end of the day, you've acknowledged what I wanted you to acknowledge going forward. And we all strive to be better, right? We don't have a playbook or a map, a roadmap to where we're going. So a lot of this is learning on the job. But I also want people to
Yeah.
know that your team, your UTB team, hold your ass accountable on the phone today. You got a
Yeah.
call, and it wasn't a
Yeah.
pleasant call, but everything we do it in love. We do it in stride. There is no issues. And that's what I wanted our conversation to be. I didn't even want to, talk about what you posted with Nick. I felt some type of way, and I made that public. But I still support you. Let me say that, even though I don't agree with everything you do, I still support Webb and her movement and the news you can use. And I think that it brings their awareness. It's good to have if it's done decent and in order. And that's decent and in order is the quotation marks that I'm putting in there. So I'll let you have that.
And let me just say this: the only reason I said anything is the only reason I said anything is because the shit kept coming back to me, and then one of the people who was involved with it, they lost their vehicle. They're going to court now about it. You know what I'm saying? And so I just feel like maybe we need to talk about it. You know what I'm saying? But again, I dropped that shit and I should have just left that shit. You know what I'm saying? And that was my fuck up. Again, I'm still trying to work through triggers with my fucking kids. You know what I'm saying? I just don't. This shit, like I've been through a lot with my oldest girl, and that shit is a fucking trigger. I'm gonna just be transparent. This shit is a motherfucking trigger, and you better have your shit in line when you come say some shit about my fucking kids. 'Cause I'm gonna get on your motherfucking ass. That's just my mindset. moving forward, I can't let that be a trigger because you said something so powerful to me today. And I'm a Sagittarius, and that's the last thing I want is a motherfucker to have control over me. But when I allow people to say that and I pop off and crash out, I'm giving these clowns control over me. You know what I'm saying? And I can't give my power and my control away. You know what I'm saying? Just like with old girl, when she came for me, when I tried to wish the nigga happy birthday, I should have let her have it too. But it's just like, something in me is just like, people that's, and I'm just be honest, it's just like certain people I be feeling like I can't let that shit slide. Maybe if it was a motherfucker who ain't got so much notoriety or not known so much, I might let them slide. But when it comes to people like folks who got thousands of followers and they coming for me, shit, I feel like I'm gonna look like a weak ass bitch if I don't say nothing. You know what I'm saying?
I don't agree to
But
that. I feel what you're saying.
okay, and I appreciate that.
I feel like everybody should be treated as an equal. You get what I'm saying? Because that's where the tit for tat comes in. They feel like, oh, since I got these followers or since who I am, that's why you fucking with me. You get what I'm saying? Versus another person, you know what I'm saying? They don't get nothing said to because they don't have as many or they're not as popular. I feel like if you're gonna do that, everybody should be treated as one. I feel like that is the issue. You get what I'm saying? Like I feel like that's the issue.
Yeah, but you got to understand when you don't have all those followers, I'm not going to see it. You see what I'm saying? I'm only see. You got to remember, most of these people, not Nick, but the person in question, they got me blocked, so I can't even see shit. So you over here talking shit, and I can't even see the shit. So the shit is getting sent to me. You know what I'm saying? If it was a like the other day when I was on when I had went on Nick page and he had said something and he was talking about me, they was like, yeah, Chris Webb lame as fuck. She lame as fuck. I let that
Yeah,
shit
that's
roll
but you
off.
should be like that with
Motherfucker ain't
everybody. I feel
cool.
like you shouldn't single nobody out.
But I don't. But I'm not. But I'm telling you, I'm not though. Cause I'm not gonna just be putting motion on everybody's page. I'm not gonna do that. It's like certain people that you gotta address. Like I called you Tristan, right? Because I was like, "Hey, look, is you gonna be
No,
in
you
it or
didn't say
out of
that.
it?" Right. When you
That's
first
all I
and
heard. I'm like, hello, good
Tell the
morning.
nigga, tell the nigga what you said, Will. Tell him what you said right
huh?
now.
Yeah, I was just telling him, are you gonna be in it or out of it? You know what I'm saying? Because I called him and let him know, hey, I said this, man, because she said this. And then that's when they got on the phone with me and was like, hey, way up here now. You can say some shit, but leave Tristan out of it. And when I thought about it, I'm like, I don't want to bring that
But they
bitch
do it
in
all
it
the
because
time though. I'm
I don't
used
got no
to it. So
problem with
like it's
Tristan.
the fact like you know what I'm
I
saying? Like
go
y'all
and
can't
still
say
don't make it
nothing.
right. And I
Y'all can't say
apologize for
nothing. Do
that.
y'all shit and then be like, Tristan, I don't want you in it. But you done already brung me in it. I get that a lot. Y'all, if y'all don't want me in it, don't
I
put
get
me in it.
you.
That's all I be asking. Y'all handle y'all girl
And
shit.
you're right. And so that's my bad. But like B Level said, I get so quick, so reactive. I see red and I need to just stand, take a moment to
Mhm.
stay back, wait an hour or two. If I still feel that same way, then say something. You know what I'm saying? So B Level, I want you to know I received everything you
Okay.
said. I want you to know that I took everything to heart, and I always take everything to heart. It's just like every time I get put in that test, I fucking fail. You know what I'm saying? And I do want to pass the test eventually, but it just be a lot because I'm a one man band, and I feel like if I let certain shit slide, then it's gonna be a fucking ice
You
skating
know
rink
what
over
you know what
here.
you
You know
need,
what I'm
right?
saying? And I
You
don't
know what
want
you
that
need.
shit.
You know what you need.
Don't
You know
say
what
it.
you need in life, right?
What is that?
You know what you need. You know what I'm saying? Call that prescription in for her some antibiotic.
Whoa. Okay.
Antibiotic.
Huh?
Dick. What you need.
He want me some D.
I think all in all, what he's trying to say is
You need some
like my
dick.
situation. Yeah, that maybe. Um,
Not you,
this is a
Tristan. I'm talking
platform.
about
The
her,
different.
motherfucker.
Oh, okay. The difference is this is a platform, and this is not personal. So the difference is a platform. So at the end of the day, after all that going back and forth, you still have to have your platform. Now, if it was the streets, that's different. Have it. It's not a. He don't want you to treat yourself like a fake page. He wants you to treat yourself like a platform. That's basically what he's saying. That's like they was cutting the mic off on me and stuff like that. That's basically what he did to you. It's just like you wasn't on air. He did yours behind closed doors. He saved you some grace.
Yeah,
Well, and my thing
exactly.
is, I would not
But you know
be.
they got to stop me in action, honey. 'Cause
Well, my thing is I wouldn't be doing. I'm not one of those friends that's gonna let my person just be out here and I don't say
crashing
anything,
out.
holding them accountable. I'm not one of those friends that's, gonna watch her do some stuff and crash out, and we don't talk about it. We don't try to stop the crash out. So, people say what they want to say by way of, and like the end of the day, like as I said, they don't know the conversations that we have off the air. And I believe in a product from the first day that I called her. I just feel like a lot of shit she don't do right. And best believe me, when I see some shit that she don't do right, she gonna get called out. I just don't do it publicly. You know what I'm saying? Andrea, you've been pretty quiet. Before you anything
Get
else?
on our ass.
Anything else you want to say before?
Look, I didn't even call Drea because I just wasn't in the fucking mood. Cause when I tell you, man, I had already been chewed up,
Sure
spit
did.
out, chewed up, spit out. I couldn't take Drea. I really don't even care to hear what she got to say now because it's
Say
what
it
she
anyway.
finna get on my ass on
She needed it.
fucking air.
We can't hear you. You on mute. You on mute. You're on mute.
She,
You're on mute, Andrea.
Okay, can y'all hear
Yes.
me now? Okay, I'm sorry. I'm not gonna get on your ass, Chris, because I feel like the parents have already whooped you enough. I love you. I know that what you do is not easy. I know that there's a lot that comes with it. So I'm just gonna at this point encourage you, because I know that you know better, and when you know better, you do better. So I don't. I love you. Good, bad, or ugly. So that's
I love
that's
you
really
too.
it.
Yeah, doing this type of work comes with a lot of opinions.
It does.
And I got to, and y'all, I promise you, I know y'all be having this conversation with me over and over and over again. And I promise you, one day it's going. I'm a pass the test. But you gotta also look at it. I'm gonna just keep it 100 with y'all because I just can't be fake. You gotta also look at it from a platform, from a brand standpoint. Shit, it's certain motherfuckers just good fucking TV. You know what I'm saying? And Nick is one of them. You know what I'm saying? So shit, I'm sorry that they gotta be like that,
Yeah.
but I'm
The,
just. It's just it don't make it right. I'm telling you, it don't make it right. I should have left it alone and just let it be in. But shit,
And I do want to say one other thing too. I think that what people, in Chris's defense as well, even with her platform, I think that what I do see is that, like when the shade room presents something, people don't go after the shade room
because they don't
person
know
that
who it
they
is.
don't, yeah, because they don't. And I think that, yours is kind of personal because it is you. Even though you, like I said, it's a platform, but people come when you present something, they do come after you directly, instead of it being like it's a platform that presented it. So I think that everybody has to learn platform versus an individual, a business versus an individual. And they do go kind of hand in hand, and I get that. And like I said, I do see it from his standpoint too, because again, this was not something that somebody else posted. This was something that you found out about and it broke. And I just think that at the end of the day, Web too, you need to find a protocol, like when
yeah.
you are reporting things, like you said, to either give people an option to respond the way they would like to, or even to tell them maybe before, if it's a person that is really of statue, this, that, or the, but just some
Yeah.
kind of protocol is what I would say, moving forward, or to kind of navigate that. I mean, you're a new business. A lot of things have to be navigated through, and people need to understand that we all are learning. We all are learning in our craft and in what we do. But I want people to know that Chris Webb has a platform. And in her platform is it is her. She's doing the work, but it is a platform, And every time something happens on the platform, you don't come after, you know,
Because I
her.
didn't tell myself this. I wasn't in there when this happened. I wasn't nowhere around when this shit happened. So you gotta know it was like, I know you say you gotta know that this shit was sent to me. Like I'm talking about, and I tried to. You can ask Lil, I ran from the shit. I didn't even want to fuck with it. I wasn't gonna fuck with it, but it just kept coming back. And then I'm hearing shit with the black people that they losing their shit and they gotta go to court about this shit to try to keep this shit. That shit kind of hurt my. That shit was kind of heartbreaking. Like my shit, I want my shit to be here because I'm just trying to educate people and let people know what's going on. And so I hate that it had to be him. But if he was on some shady dealings, allegedly, if he was on some shady dealing shit, I was just trying to basically like beware. You know what I'm saying? Like
but
beware. Like just
I
be.
mean, if he was on some shady dealings, I mean, the people that received it, they knew. It's kind of like, if I'm getting away $1 billion and your credit ain't good enough and you can't receive it, it's like theft by receiving. So I didn't do nothing against you. I helped you
That's
get something
correct.
that you wanted. So they should be coming to my defense. Everybody that got some benefited off me. I lost my job.
See, and those are the people that are coming to your offense because they like, hey, this nigga stole my people some cars, and now they got they shit took, and now they going to court trying to
Yeah,
explain why they got the vehicle in the first place when they really wasn't
yeah, but them
eligible for it.
those
Or
just
moving
haters. It
for it.
should it should be they should be coming out saying, you know what, hey, do help me get a car. I wasn't qualified for, so I just gotta take that. But that'd be different if he did it behind their back. That's different. But if he did it and
Yeah,
they know damn
motherfuckers
well
know
you ain't made no
they gotta
income to
sign
get this
papers
car.
and look at all the legalities. They know
Yeah, so
what ain't
they
right and
just
what
as
ain't right.
guilty.
But guess what? Unfortunately, with black people, they all cool with
Yeah,
this shit until this shit go
yeah,
left, right?
So
That's black people for you. That's why you can't. That's why you can't. And it's a learning curve for everybody involved. That's why you can't be trying to bless people if they not eligible, if they not ready
yeah.
for
It
the
really, it
blessing.
really,
You know what I'm saying? You
really
interfering with the Lord's will. If God ain't willed him to have no car, you
yeah,
can't make insurance and paperwork and stuff to try to get him in the car because clearly that's the reason why they ain't got shit because they don't keep their night like when they sign a paper they don't keep their contracts oh yeah it's good now and then when shit gets rocky then they throwing your ass
yeah,
under the bus. It's just like a learning curve for
yeah.
everyone, you know
well,
what
my
I'm
just
saying?
my thing, and I want to just kind of end it is just keep it, not make it personal. You know what I mean? That's my whole little thing. Is to,
Report the news,
yeah,
Ebony. Don't
yeah,
be the
yeah,
news.
yeah. Just
Report the
don't
news. Don't be the
report it.
news.
Don't pick a side. Stay neutral. Don't make it personal. I want to say to you guys that I don't think y'all know this. At the beginning of this episode today, my grandmother had a stroke. And my cousin just called me and told me she passed away. So pray
Mm,
for my family. I
Mm.
just found out
Sorry
this
for
while
your
I was
loved
on the
one.
air.
yeah.
Keep my
Sorry,
Sorry
love.
for
family
the
in
loss.
prayers. Obviously I found out this while we was on the air. I knew that she wasn't doing really, really well when we got on the air, but I knew that I had an obligation to make sure that this interview went to. So y'all, when y'all pray tonight, just really, really, really keep my family in prayer. My grandmother was 98 years old, and in
Man,
another month,
Oh, she did a
we were
long,
getting ready to
beautiful life.
celebrate her 99th birthday, and she passed tonight. So when y'all say your prayers tonight, just make sure y'all say an extra prayer for me and my family. Okay. All right.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Um, yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. We're gonna end any other business. Andrea, you need to your
Yeah, we'll
things
get there.
going. Yeah. Yeah. Tristan, anything? Anthony, anything way up? Okay.
I just want to thank you. I just want to thank my team for always holding me accountable, regardless of what the public thinks. Y'all always pulling my coattail, and y'all always making sure that I know when I'm in the wrong. And when I'm in the right, y'all say I'm right. But when I'm in the wrong, y'all tell me too. So I appreciate y'all.
We love you, Webb.
Yeah, we do. We do.
For
And
I ain't
and
got
and
to that point yet.
don't forget if you want to be a person that's on Tristan, to sit down with Tristan the fourth Wednesday of every month. Y'all contact Tristan or
Yes.
send us an inbox so that you could be a contestant. Okay, we don't have any other business. Y'all stay on the line too. Don't get off of here. But I'm gonna get off the air. If we don't have any other business, then we'll see you next Sunday, same bad time,
Same
same bad
bad
channel,
channel.
y'all. Good night. Good night. Y'all stay on the
Good
line.
night, guys.
I look good.